And number 39, Tony Ellison.
I feel like if I call him, he'll be angry at us. Huh?
Okay. Grizzlies.
Good evening, football fans, and welcome to the second round of the Sac Joaquin Section Division I playoffs. Here tonight with you, I'm Neil Martin, alongside my partner, Lucas Carlson, and we have a premier matchup for you tonight, the 4 and the 5 seed in the Sac Joaquin Section Division I playoffs. The Downey Knights, the 4 seed, and the Granite Bay Grizzlies, the 5 seed, here matching up at Downey High School in Modesto, California tonight. And Lucas, we're going to get right into it. Grizzlies first and 10 at their own 45. Tony Ellison gets a sweep around the right side. He's at the 50, the 45, the 40 still running. And the Grizzlies get off to a great start, a 15-yard run by Tony Ellison, and he is the man that will make this Grizzly offense go all night long.
Well, I agree with you, Neil, but even if he doesn't, that's been the thing for the Grizzlies this season. Even when Tony Ellison doesn't produce, they have somebody pick up the slack for him. And I see that happening tonight anyways. So, you know, the Grizzlies, that was a great run.
First and 10 for the Grizzlies. On Downey's 38. Quick swing past Ellison. He's down the left sideline. 30-20. Taken down just short of the 15-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 22 yards. And the Grizzlies have picked up 37 yards here on their first 2 plays, courtesy of Tony Ellison.
That was a great, I mean, we've seen so many Grizzlies receivers do that this year, where they catch that short ball and do that quick spin move that just shakes defenders. I don't know what it is, but they have that unique capability to do that.
Now another first and 10 for the Grizzlies, and Johnny Cooley gets the handoff off left tackle. And Johnny Cooley picks up a solid run. It's going to be a gain of 5 yards to the 12-yard line. It's going to be a 2nd and 5 for the Grizzlies. Grizzlies bringing some subs, looking to change up their offensive set a little bit.
Yeah, and that last run by Johnny Cooley was just the typical play by the Grizzlies this season. Just a nice solid play up the middle, basic play to get a couple of yards.
And now on 2nd and 5, Grant Caraway throws a quick slant to Ty Cerna to get the Grizzlies another first down, this time a 1st and goal inside the Downey 5-yard line at the 3-yard line. And we're only a minute and a half into this one. Grizzlies having a relatively easy time driving here.
Yeah, there must be something in the air tonight, or Coach Cooper must have given them one heck of an inspirational speech, because they're coming out fired up tonight.
Johnny Cooley, 1st and goal, and it's a touchdown for the Granite Bay Grizzlies. The Grizzlies get it done in 6 plays, covering 65 yards, and they draw first blood here at Downey High School. They're up 6-0, and Lucas, that drive could not have been planned or drawn up any better for the Grizzlies, and you know that Coach Cooper is smiling on the sidelines right now.
Oh, definitely. That was just beautiful execution on all parts by everybody involved. I mean, it's making me smile up here. Yeah, that's all you can say is they really executed on all their plays.
Colin Brown executes on special teams as well. Boots through the PAT, and the Grizzlies take an early 7-0 lead. That first drive, again, 6 plays covering 65 yards, in 1 minute and 50 seconds. So Grizzlies very efficient on offense to start off this ball game, but Downey with an excellent offense as well, led by their lead man, their quarterback, Mr. Zwollen, I believe. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Aaron Zwollen, yes. And he is really good. I mean, he was in the top 10 quarterback performers in the nation last week. He was amazing last week, and, don't show any signs of stopping this week, as he is a Hawaii University commit. He is going there on a scholarship, so you got to have talent to go there on a scholarship.
Absolutely, and his stats so far this season have been absolutely stunning. A 65% completion percentage. He's thrown for just short of 3,500 yards. That's about 300 yards a game, and he has 46 touchdowns compared to only 10 interceptions. So he is having himself a season. Kickoff is bobbled, and as a result, the Grizzlies pin Downey deep in their own territory, and they will start their first offensive possession inside their own 15-yard line at the 14. And Zwollen and company will have a 1st and 10 from that point. And, of course, Downey, they have a decent running attack as well, led by Juan Ayala.
Juan Ayala. I did a little bit of pronunciation training this week, if you would say that, but he is very good. But you can tell that they are predominantly a passing offense, and should it rain like everybody predicted, if it is going to rain tonight, that could put a damper on Downey's offense.
Absolutely, would certainly complicate things for them. We saw the good passing game there on 1st down. A 12-yard pass from Zwollen to get a 1st down, and that deep bomb thrown by Zwollen intended for Zeth. It falls incomplete, so that'll bring up a 2nd and 10 for Downey's offense at their own 26-yard line.
Yeah, and that was just blown coverage. I don't know who was on him, but he completely missed it, and we got lucky there that that ball was a little bit overthrown.
Zwollen looking for another open receiver.
Pass is complete.
And that down the left sideline is good for a 1st down. And Michael Fale Pauno makes that catch down the left sideline.
And I don't know, I was paying attention to it. I don't know if you saw how beautifully and tight spiraled that ball was as it came out of his hands. And just like that, that one also. This quarterback is on fire, and he's hitting his targets. Same guy.
Well, and you know what? If this keeps going on all night, obviously the Grizzlies with a high-powered running game, Downey with a high-powered passing game right there, Zwollen's 47th touchdown pass of the year. We could be staring a shootout in the face the rest of the night. That drive covers 88 yards in just 5 plays, and Downey scores in less than a minute. They score in 45 seconds, and just like that, pending the extra point, they will have this game tied up. And the extra point is good, so we're tied up at 7 apiece, and already in less than 3 minutes, we have had 2 touchdowns here by 2 high-powered offenses. So scoreboard might be needing some fixing after tonight if this keeps going the way it's going.
Yeah, and knowing Coach Cooper, his smile just turned to a frown over there as he loves when games are played completely, like, you know, solid on both sides of the ball, not just on offense. So you know that he's going to be chewing into those defensive players, and really the secondary blew their coverage a lot during that drive. So look for big adjustments.
And the Grizzlies will look to make those adjustments on defense for their next drive, but they are going to be getting the ball back on this kickoff. Aaron Knapp and Tony Ellison back deep to receive to get the Grizzlies back on the offense where they have been so dominant throughout this season and so far in this game. And the onside kick does Downey. And it is recovered by Downey. However, we do have penalty flags.
Penalty flags on the play.
And Neil, I was discussing this with you earlier as I was told by J.R. Colton and Vince Milo. They were talking about some game film they had reviewed. And Downey onside kicks a lot. You don't usually see them kick it all the way down. And we didn't see it on the first one, but they told me they go for 2 a lot. And they have a weird formation. I can't really describe it to you, but we'll see it if they do, in fact, use it. And it's interesting.
Illegal touch against Downey.
Well, and, you know, Downey is one of those teams that they definitely use a game plan that is very unique to try and put up a lot of points early and get a big lead. That's really been their strategy throughout the season with any team they've played. Jump out to a big lead and then go to the running game, go to Viola to start running out the clock and really putting the pressure on their opponent. But if they cannot convert some of those onside kicks and some of those two-point conversions and the Grizzlies can keep this tight early, we may be looking at a role reversal and the Grizzlies possibly putting some pressure on Downey as the night goes on.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens here. Grizzlies get the ball 1st and 10 on their own 38 after the kickoff. Ellison in motion, and he will get the sweep here around the right side. Partridge lead blocking, and Ellison gains about 5 yards to the 43-yard line. So it'll be 2nd and 5 for the Grizzlies.
Mario Sanchez on the stop, gain of 5.
And an injured Downey Knights player is limping off the field as the Grizzlies come out with a 2 wide to the left formation with Partridge and Cooley in the backfield here on 2nd and 6. Here's the snap. Caraway rolling, throws, looking for, that is not Clint Ellenwood. That is actually Johnny Cooley. PA announcer getting that one a little bit wrong. We'll forgive him that one, though. He doesn't know this team as well, and that incompletion will lead to a 3rd and 6 for the Grizzlies, and you just can't have that from your starting running back.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there, Neil, but that's a key drop. I mean, he's usually, for sure with his catches, he's usually money. He usually catches everything, and right there he just had a rare drop, but can't explain it.
Yeah, you don't see that often. On 3rd and 6, Ellison gets a sweep up the middle, but does not get very much, and that could come back to haunt the Grizzlies. As we mentioned, this Downey offense, very high-powered. If Downey can get some stops on defense where they have struggled this season, the Grizzlies might be staring a loss in the face, but we'll see what happens. Grizzlies in a punting situation.
Gotta wonder why they were running it there on 3rd down instead of trying to go for some rollout pass or something like they usually do, and they are going for it here on 4th down.
4th and 4.
This is going to be a pretty big play here early. Ellison in motion, and a player jumps off sides, wondering where the flag was. But nevertheless, Tony Ellison picks up the 1st down. He got the sweep around left guard and gained just enough for the 1st down. He gets to the Grizzly 49-yard line where they will have a 1st and 10, and that is a huge play for the Grizzlies.
Well, I'm going to use a volleyball term here. They say ball never lies. And right there, you saw that in effect as a player jumped way off sides. No call by the ref.
And 1st down for Granite Bay.
They ended up getting the 1st down anyway, so
justice is served. Grizzlies come out, split wide receivers, Cooley and Partridge in the backfield. There's the snap, play action, Caraway looking deep. And Ty Serna makes an incredible catch down the right sideline. Catches the ball over the defensive back's head. And the Grizzlies get a 1st down deep in Downey territory. What do you make of that one, Lucas?
What a catch. Wow.
Gain of 23.
Sports Center top 10 play, perhaps?
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Well, that is a 23-yard gain for the Grizzlies, and they now have a 1st and 10 on the Downey 28. They come out in a jumbo set. One man to the right. That is Towery in motion, but Cooley gets the handoff up the middle. He has quite a lot of space, but the ball pops out. Not sure who recovered it, but it appears Downey has. And Downey has recovered. A critical mistake by the Grizzlies. Johnny Cooley running with the ball like it was a loaf of bread, and it just popped out on initial contact.
Yeah, and Johnny's been having some handling issues. He dropped that ball earlier. He's fumbled. He fumbled once. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know if he fumbled last week, but I know that's not a good trend to have.
Certainly been having a little bit of trouble, and as we speak, Downey starting their next offensive possession on their own 25, and Dwellin is sacked.
Loss of 4, 2nd and 14.
2nd and 13 now for the Knights. 4 wide set. Swollen drops back, looking, and it's picked off! Granite Bay Grizzlies Gonna get a pick six here. And Aaron Swollen, on only his 11th interception of the year, makes a critical mistake, and the Grizzlies get a touchdown out of it.
Yeah, and that was Grant Powers there on the interception, and he was sitting on that route the whole time. He read the quarterback's eyes, and he was just sitting there.
And that is a huge, huge play for the Grizzlies just when the Knights were starting to get momentum back. The Grizzlies make a big play and get a touchdown out of it. So the Grizzlies now lead 13-7 with the PAT pending. And it appears that the Grizzlies got flagged for excessive celebration after the touchdown. You don't see that too often in high school football.
No, a teammate celebrated by jumping on him, and they call excessive celebration, or as we saw in the Monday Night Football game, team celebration with the Chiefs after that interception return. And
as a result, the Grizzlies will incur a 15-yard penalty on the kickoff. And in a battle of two high-powered offenses, sometimes field position can mean everything. So that is actually a fairly critical mistake by the Grizzlies. Nevertheless, though, they do make a huge play, get the momentum back in their favor with 6:50 left to play in the first quarter, and they now have the lead 14-7 over the 4-seed Downey Knights on their own home turf.
Yeah, and had they not gotten some sort of points off of a turnover there, that would not have been good. I mean, talk about momentum swinging. This is like a giant pendulum here tonight.
That'll be marked off for the kickoff, and they will kick off from their own 25-yard line instead of the 40.
So instead of kicking off from the 40-yard line, the Granite Bay Grizzlies will kick off from their own 25. And Colin Brown is kicking with the winds, though, right now, so that will help him a little bit. And he has been known to make pretty large kickoffs on occasion, so hopefully he can still get this kick reasonably deep. Both teams lined up for the kick. And it is away. It's going to be fielded at about the 20-yard line. Returner cuts to the left, cutting back to the right. And, gets tripped up just short of the 40-yard line when it looks like he might finally have some daylight, but the Grizzlies make
and
a good team tackle.
That was a big tackle by Luke Bussey there. What we like to call here a shoelace tackle.
And Luke Bussey has made a lot of great plays this season, and that is probably actually on the lower end of his highlight reel, and he has had a great season in his own right. So Downey 1st and 10 on their own 39, 3-wide set. Swollen drops back, and this pass is a little high, but he does manage to get it to his receiver. That's the senior wide receiver, Richard Lopez. And Grant Powers makes a tackle. He's having himself a game here early.
Yeah, and that was just over the outstretched hand of Mason Conan.
Swollen, 4-wide set. Swollen, scrambling, under pressure. He's in trouble, and he's going to be sacked back near the 30-yard line. That's going to be a loss of 22 yards. Tyler Arneson with the big sack.
Well, Tyler Arneson gets the credit for that sack, but J.R. Colton had much to do with that. He was the one who slowed him down, and Tyler was just there to clean up.
Great play by the Grizzly defense, and now 2nd and a mile for the Downey Knights, 31, and a 3-wide set for Zwollen and company. He's throwing it deep. And swatted away by Grizzly defensive backs. And Tristan Best, the junior wide receiver, 6'2", pretty tall junior for Downey, not able to make the catch as a result. And now Downey in a long 3rd down situation. And Lucas, you were telling me earlier, they go forward on 4th down pretty much every time they get into a 4th down situation. But if it turns out to be 4th and 30, I think they might punt it away.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I told you, is the situation where they would probably punt is like on a 4th and 30, and looks like that's what's going to happen.
Yep, that was Juan Viola getting the handoff there on 3rd and 31. but he did not get very far before big defensive tackle Luke Jarvis for the Granite Bay Grizzlies took him down. And that was only a gain of about a yard. So now it'll be 4th and 30 for the Knights, and they're lined up in punt formation. Tony Ellison back deep to receive.
See, and there's their weird formation where their linemen line up about, good distance apart from each other, and beautiful punt here by the two-way star, if you would like to call him, much like Grant Caraway, Aaron Zwollen, who also punts.
Both teams similar in the fact that their quarterbacks are the punters. So good fact there by my partner, Lucas Carlson. And the Grizzlies actually got a favorable bounce there on that punt. That punt actually bounced at about the 15-yard line before rolling forward to about the 21. So as a result, the Grizzlies have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 21. Greg Caraway throws on 1st down to Johnny Cooley down the right side. Then he's at the 40, at the 45, and just short of the 50. And Johnny Cooley makes up for the fumble earlier. Gain of 27 yards for the Grizzlies.
That's him taking it upon himself to make up for that fumble, saying, "My bad, guys. Let me make a play."
Now the Grizzlies have another 1st down, and they certainly got themselves out of bad field position quickly. They now have the ball on their own 47, and they are just rolling tonight here early. 3-wide set. Ellison in motion. Here's the snap. Handoff. Taft Partridge up the middle, and Taft Partridge, you know what? We've said it all season. Simple yet effective, and there you see it again. Taft Partridge gets the handoff up the middle. Doesn't pick up a big play, but gets a solid 5 yards.
I want to get a shirt made out of that because I kind of coined that phrase. I'll take credit for that.
Get that on a bumper sticker.
Yes.
2nd and 5 now for the Grizzlies, and they are in Downey territory. Ball at the 47. They come out in a 3-wide set. Watch tight end Stephen Graber on the left end of the formation. Tony Ellison in motion. He gets the sweep around the left side. Taft Partridge lead blocking. Ellison cuts up. He's at the 40. Cuts back inside. At the 35. He's down to the 40. Has the quarterback lead blocking for him at the 35. He's down to the 30 and down to the 25, but this one's probably going to be coming back. There is a flag on the play, and this looks like yet another Tony Ellison creation that will be coming back.
Yeah, that is much to the par of Granite Bay's offense this season. A lot of big plays made by Tony Ellison that have been called back by penalties.
Get this. On the season, Tony Ellison has had 8 touchdown plays that have been called back because of penalties, but the Grizzlies get lucky on this one. What did you see on that one, Lucas?
Well, I thought there may be a potential block in the back, but it appears the head referee overruled the side judge, and that's what happened.
So as a result, Tony Ellison gets credited for a 24-yard run, and the Grizzlies pick up yet another 1st down, and they're at the Downey 23. If the Grizzlies can take a 2-possession lead here against an offensively skilled team like Downey, that would be huge. They come out in a jumbo set. Handoff. Cooley up the middle. He's still going. 10. And taken down just short of the 5. And you want to talk about shoelace tackles. There was one right there.
Yeah, don't be surprised if he has to stop and take a break to tie his shoes.
Ball at the 6-yard line.
Gain of 17 yards for the Grizzlies, and they now have a 1st and goal at the 6. This is their 5th 1st down of the drive.
Well, I got to say, Neil, it's the weather's kind of surprising me tonight. I much expected a lot of rain, and we're actually getting a lot of wind, not so much rain.
And currently the wind is favoring the Grizzlies, so that may come into play here later. Tony Ellison does get the sweep around the left side here on 1st and goal, but it looked like the Downey defense got a pretty good pre-snap read on that one, and they stop him for a loss of 1.
Yeah, and there's the adverse effects of trying to, dance in the backfield and try to make a play happen.
Well, the thing is you don't see it that often with Tony Ellison because he's typically very, very skilled, very, very agile. But
usually he makes those moves early on and the players, bite on it. But this time the Downey defenders were much the wiser.
Grizzlies come out in a jumbo set here on 2nd and goal, but it looks like we're going to get a timeout by the Grizzlies as Ernie Cooper instantly ran down the sideline to get that timeout called, as he did not like the matchup between the Grizzly offense and the Downey defense. And so with 2:38 let's play here in the first quarter, we will take our first break here on Play On Sports Network from Downey High School in Modesto, California. Grizzlies currently up by 1 touchdown, 14-7 on the Downey Knights. Back with you here on Play On Sports Network, where we're in the midst of a second round or quarterfinal battle, depending on how you want to look at it, in Division I between the Granite Bay Grizzlies and the Downey Knights. Grizzlies currently driving. They have the ball 2nd and goal on the Downey 7-yard line, and they're looking to go up by 2 possessions. Here's the snap. Greg Caraway rolling to the right, throws it into the end zone, and an excellent defensive play made by the Downey secondary. Pass intended for Tony Ellison, but Downey's defenders were all over that.
Yeah, and he wow, he really sacrificed his body for that play and came up a little awkwardly, but he's fine now. But that was dedication right there.
Great play by the Downey defense, and now the Grizzlies have a critical 3rd down situation from the 7-yard line.
That was Herman Harris on the breakup there. I want to give credit where credit's due.
Grizzlies come out in the 3-wide set. Tony Ellison in motion. Here's the snap. Play action. Caraway under pressure. Throws a screen pass to tight end Stephen Graber. And Stephen Graber will get the touchdown. His 3rd touchdown in 2 weeks. And Stephen Graber is having himself an excellent Sac-Joaquin section playoff here so far, and he puts the Grizzlies up by 2 possessions. They're now ahead 20-7.
He's got such a beautiful frame. I mean, he's so big yet so fast for his size, and just the long legs working and big hands catching. Everything went into play there. Beautiful catch and run by Stephen Graber. And Grizzlies are now up by 2 possessions.
Indeed they are. Just moments after that timeout, Cooper got his players' heads on straight. And with 2:27 left in the first, Grizzlies now lead 21-7 over a high-powered Downey team. And that is a huge, huge victory for this Grizzly team, because now they can afford a mistake or two. Obviously, you want to avoid that, especially when you're still in the first quarter.
And I want to highlight the fact that Downey does receive the 2nd half kickoff.
Got to give some more credit where credit is due. Our cameraman, Mitchell Bodner, did say earlier today that he was putting in a bet tonight that the Grizzlies would break their all-time record for scoring in a game. That record is 70 points, and so far the Grizzlies on pace to score 84. So Mitch may be walking home with some cash tonight.
You know, I got to ask these Downey fans at halftime or something, they put their fingers up, they put a one finger up, their pointer finger, up in the air during kickoffs. There's something behind it. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. I like when high school teams have those traditions.
Something you don't typically see until you get to the college level, but when you see a high school team doing something like that, you know that the football team and the crowd are really like family to each other, which is really great to see.
Yeah, and it reminds me, if you've read the book Friday Night Lights, it really reminds me of that atmosphere. And I like how it's spreading not just in Texas anymore.
On 1st and 10 for the Knights, Zwollen throws an incompletion, so 2nd down upcoming. And Zwollen has looked a little out of sorts here tonight early on. Of course, the pick 6 and some off-target passes. 2nd and 10 upcoming now for the Knights. 4 wide set. Viola in the backfield with Zwollen. And they're going to run a little halfback draw, which only gets back to the line, and the Grizzlies are playing excellent defense against this Downey offense here early on. And Luke Jarvis gets his 2nd tackle of the night, along with Powers, who has his 3rd. Zwollen now, 3rd and 9, 3-step drop, pump fake. Throwing it deep over the middle, and that is going to be way over the head of his intended receiver, Richard Lopez, the senior. And now Downey has a 4th and 9 upcoming, and Lucas, you think they'll go for it here?
Well, based on what I've heard on the scouting report, sources say they will, but we'll never know. I guess they're punting.
Back to receive for the Grizzlies.
Maybe the game film was a little just of their 4th down exploits early in the season. Maybe being that it's a playoff game, that means a lot more. Maybe they're not willing to take that risk. And wow, did you see how the ball died in the middle of the air? That just went.
Well, like I was saying, the wind's in the favor of the Grizzlies right now, and you saw it right there. Zwollen's punt was high and looked like it was going to be deep, but he is kicking into the wind, and the ball did die, and you saw Aaron Knapp waiting for a fair catch. He had to run about 15 yards upfield and then dive just to get the fair catch.
Yeah, and that's why I say, you know, I mean, we did get the extra field position, but that was almost not necessarily in our favor, as that could have easily been a recipe for disaster.
Grizzlies, though, do have excellent field position now. 1st and 10 on Downey's 49. On 1st and 10, fullback Taft Partridge gets the handoff up the middle, and he gains about 10 yards. Depends on the spot, but the Grizzlies may have a 1st down here. They're going to spot it inches short, so 2nd and inches upcoming here for the Grizzlies as we are under 1.5 minutes to play here in the 1st quarter.
2nd and 1.
Three wide set. Ellison in motion. Handoff. Cooley off left guard. He's got some room to run, and he gets past the 30-yard line before getting taken down. And that's going to be a gain of 12 yards for the Grizzlies, and another GB 1st down.
Gain of 12. Ball at the Knights' 28-yard line.
Downey defense looking a little confused here early on.
Yeah, well, when you have as much offensive weaponry as the Grizzlies do, it's hard to account for everybody.
2 wide to the left. Partridge and Cooley in the backfield. Partridge gets the call.
Partridge, the ball carrier.
And again, anytime the ball goes to Partridge, you know it's going to be
simple yet effective.
And that was the case there as Partridge picks up about 5.5 yards. 2nd and 5 upcoming for the Grizzlies.
Gain of 5.
20 ticks left on the clock. And we are still in the 1st quarter. Kind of hard to imagine seeing, as we've already had 4 touchdowns scored, 3 of them by the Grizzlies.
Yeah, this has been, it looked like it was going to be a shootout on both sides, but Downey's offense has cooled down since.
Handoff. Partridge again. He's still going and trucking the legs.
Partridge down to the 15-yard
and he gets to the 15-yard line before being stopped. That's going to be a gain of 8 yards and get the Grizzlies another 1st down. And that also takes us to the end of the 1st quarter. Grizzlies driving and up by 14. They lead 21-7 on the Downey Knights here at Downey High School. And the Grizzlies playing impressively so far. Lucas, what's your take on the 1st quarter?
Well, like I said, it looked like it was going to start out like a shootout, on both sides. And ever since then, Downey's offense has really cooled down. The Grizzlies have found an answer. They made changes in the secondary. And on top of that, Downey has not been able to find an answer for this high-powered Grizzlies offense, whether it be by Ty Cerna, Steven Graber, Taft Partridge, Johnny Cooley, Tony Ellison. The list can go on and on. The Grizzlies have really capitalized on sending everything they have at this Downey team.
Absolutely. Grizzlies really haven't made any mistakes either tonight, other than the Johnny Cooley fumble, which was quickly forgotten due to a Grant Powers pick 6. So the Grizzlies capitalizing both on opportunities of their own creation and Downey mistakes here through 1 quarter of play. And as a result, I mean, I think this is the highest scoring first quarter the Grizzlies have had all season. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Lucas, but I don't recall them scoring 21 points in the first quarter this season.
I would have to agree with you.
And we did just get that confirmed. Their highest scoring first quarter of the season was 17 points. Here on 1st and 10 from the 15. Handoff goes to Johnny Cooley. And he gains 7 yards, gets to the 8-yard line, and the Grizzlies appear as if they're going to be up 28-7 here in just a couple of moments, unless Downey can put together a stop.
Yeah, and Neil, I was gonna say that earlier, but the Grizzlies are pretty comfortable when they ran 3 plays in a row with Taft Partridge up the middle, and they were still gaining yards.
Yeah, absolutely. Typically they use him in short yardage situations, but you know if they can get him a few plays like that, they're comfortable. And the Grizzlies score their 3rd offensive touchdown of the night, 4th touchdown total, and that is an 8-yard pass from Grant Caraway to Tony Ellison.
Tony Ellison with the famous skyward point after the touchdown, and just like that, 6 more points added on pending the PAT. Of course, it could be 7 points, most likely.
And of course, you know, Colin Brown has been Mr. Automatic this season, as I have been trying to get him a new contract this entire season. So the kid's been busy. Here's the snap. Kick is up, and Mr. Automatic puts through another.
And the kick is good.
That's his 4th PAT of the night. And now he will come out for his 4th kickoff as the Grizzlies now lead 28-7 over the Downey Knights with 11:14 left to play in the second quarter.
Well, I'm glad we found it here, Neil, because it was tough getting here. We had a lot of detours on the way here.
Just to give you all an idea, we had some navigation issues. We were actually, our ETA originally to get here was about 6:15. We actually ended up showing up about 5 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah.
And that was due mostly to horrendous traffic through Sacramento.
There was many accidents.
Yeah, there were many accidents. We went through 3 or 4, and we actually ended up going on about 3 different highways to get here. I-5, we went on 99, we were on 50 for a little bit, and it was an adventure getting here. So,
but we're here. That's all that matters.
And excited as usual to bring our amazing audience another week of football action. Grizzlies kicking into the wind here, and as a result, the kick is relatively short, fielded at the 17 by Downey. And the returner is taken down at the 29-yard line. Juan Viola stopped by a host of Grizzly defenders.
Yeah, and he had the moves there and really took advantage of the Grizzlies' momentum. He used a lot of cuts to try to get them to bite. And wow, I don't know what this giant card that this lineman is holding up behind the coach, but I've seen so far a picture of Napoleon Dynamite on it, a stop sign, and I'm still trying, a bald eagle. I'm still trying to depict the other things on there, but very interesting.
Well, it's similar. It's similar to the system that Oregon uses in college football. They have a bunch of posters with 4 squares with different pictures on them that depict different formations and plays, and as a result, Downey able to run a very effective no-huddle spread offense that we've seen all night tonight. Swallow lines up in a 4-wide set, halfback delay to Viola, and Viola picks up Downey's first down in 3 offensive possessions. So Downey having some trouble of late moving the ball, and that is not typical for them. They are an extremely high-powered offense typically.
I found out what another square is. There's one of Nacho Libre.
Always important. 5-wide set. Swallow drops back. Quick pass, and the pass is dropped. That was Tristan Best They just had the ball slip through his hands there, but good defense by Jack Dockham of the Grizzlies as well. And now Downey has the ball 2nd and 10 on their own 41.
2nd and 10.
Five wide set again. Here's the snap. Quick pass, screen pass to Best. And he is still going all the way down to just past midfield. And that looks like that's going to be just short of the first down, gain of 9, and it's going to be 3rd and inches for Downey.
That is older brother Griffin Powers on the tackle.
Swollen going to scramble here, and he does manage to get the first down. That's a gain of 1 yard, but it's just enough, and Downey starting to move the ball with a little bit of consistency for the first time in a while.
Although Grizzlies did get a nice hit on the quarterback, and we saw some more signs.
Some more picture sightings. We have Yoda from Star Wars. Deep pass. Swollen. Looking deep down the left sideline for Richard Lopez, the senior, and Aaron Knapp, the Grizzlies' best defensive back, was on the coverage. And as a result, the pass falls incomplete, a little bit overthrown. And now Downey has the ball 2nd and 10.
There again, they have, I said the stop sign earlier. There's a no U-turn sign and a picture of Dog the Bounty Hunter.
4 wide set.
Flag
thrown, yeah. Swollen. Throws it deep. Oh, and it was overthrown again.
Penalty flag on the play.
Nearly picked off by Aaron Knapp, and we'll see what the flag was.
This would be a huge momentum killer for for Downey, excuse me.
If it were against them,
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wouldn't be good for the Grizzlies either, as
it's going to be an encroachment call against the defense. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. As a
replay
result.
2nd down, right?
Yeah, and because the flag was thrown just before the snap, they will replay 2nd down.
5-yard penalty.
We're such a good team.
2nd and 5.
Second and 5. 4 wide. Swollen drops back. Little screen pass to Viola. And Viola gets Downey yet another first down, and they get the ball all the way to the 34, and Cameron Smith gets the stop. That's the first time we've heard his name tonight, which is kind of shocking considering that he's the Grizzlies' leading tackler.
Nice for the ball, 1st and 10.
4 wide set, yet again for Zwollen. Viola still in the backfield. Audible called. Here's the snap. Swollen. Halfback delay. And Viola is stopped at the 35-yard line for no gain. Great defensive play there by the Grizzlies linebackers.
Number 46.
Bo Hirschberger and Cameron Smith combining for the tackle on that play.
2nd and 10.
Under 9 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Play action. Swollen. Looking deep. And the pass is caught! You want to talk about SportsCenter top 10 plays. There's one right there to get Downey their 2nd touchdown of the night. That was an incredible pass, and Zwollen fit that pass into a tiny window between 3 Grizzly defenders to get that ball to Thomas Reynolds for the touchdown. Wow.
Well, I don't know, but after that play, during that play, Richard Lopez went out, and Bo Hirschberger absolutely drilled him to try to jam him at the line, and he was down the whole play. Maybe he was just taking a break and watching the play. But he looked dazed as he got up. He seems fine. I could just be seeing something, I don't know. But that did not look good. That was a huge hit. I saw that because it was the closest receiver to us, and I was watching that. I was like, wow, that was a big hit.
Despite the possible injury to Richard Lopez, Swollen throws his 43rd touchdown of the season, his second of the night. And Downey pulls back within 2 possessions, now down by 14 with 8.5 to play here in the second quarter. Grizzlies, though, still ahead 28-14, and they are receiving the upcoming kickoff. Aaron Knapp and Tony Ellison, of course, back deep to receive.
Thomas Reynolds on to kick off.
Grizzlies appear to be anticipating an onside kick as they have everybody forward except Ellison and Knapp. And Downey did try an onside kick there, but it went out of bounds. So this will be a penalty against Downey, and the Grizzlies will get the ball to start at the, I believe it's the 40-yard line in high school football or the 35?
40 in professional, that's all I know. I don't know exactly what the high school rule is because you don't usually see that, but you got to question why they onside kick every time. It's a low
35-yard line.
low opportunity play.
I understand why they would do it. Downey's team is completely offensively based. Their offense is high-powered. It's excellent, one of the best in the section. Their defense, on the other hand, is a little underwhelming.
Exactly. So why give your defense, put them in a hole to start?
Because they're going to be in a hole anyway. I mean, I think that's probably what Downey's coach is thinking.
I understand what you're saying. That does make sense.
On 1st and 10, Tony Ellison gets a sweep around the left side, and the ball was on the 35-yard line to start that drive, but Ellison picks up 5, so now the Grizzlies are at the 40, where it will be 2nd and 5.
Well, Neil, you had it right the first time when you said the 35-yard line.
Grizzlies come out in a 3-wide set. Partridge, the lone man in the backfield. Here's the snap. Quick drop. Caraway looking deep for Tony Ellison, and that ball nearly intercepted. Pass was slightly underthrown, and Anthony Garcia, the senior defensive back for Downey, nearly had a pick on that play. And Caraway's got to be wiping a little sweat from his brow after that one. That was really, really close. And as a result of the incompletion, Grizzlies now have a 3rd and 5. And hey, if they go 3 and out here, don't think that Downey couldn't turn this game around quick and get right back in.
Oh, they could easily. Grizzlies should be sweating in their boots right now.
Screen pass to Taft Partridge down the left sideline. He's got a 1st down and more. Still going at the 45, all the way to the 43, and Taft Partridge, typically not a big play type of guy, has had several of them here early on tonight. What do you make of that, Lucas?
I think it's because Downey's trying to compensate for all the other big names on the Grizzlies offense, that it's really allowing Taft Partridge to find those holes that he doesn't normally find, or, you know, make that big play. Get out, sneak out into coverage.
And as a result,
we've seen all season.
Yeah,
we've seen all season that the Grizzlies like to throw the ball out of the backfield.
Johnny Cooley gets the handoff here on the 1st and 10
No gain on the play.
at the Downey 44, but he only gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Leo Bracamonte on the stop.
So the Grizzlies will now have the ball 2nd and 10. 7:08 left to play here in the second quarter. Grizzlies still lead 28-14, and what is looking like it's going to turn into a shootout.
2nd and 10.
Then again, that is what we said at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, but it looked like there for a minute when the Grizzlies were up 28-7, they were just going to pull away and not give Downey any shot to get back in it. But then Downey scores a quick touchdown, and now they're only down by 2 possessions again. And unless Granite Bay can keep up its offensive production, Downey can get back in this thing real fast.
You got to admit, that was a big touchdown.
Oh, it was huge. Potentially game-saving. Ellison in motion. Quick throw from Grant Caraway to Ty Cerna.
Pass complete to number 2.
And that was yet another simple yet effective play. And that gets the Grizzlies 9. And instead of having a 3rd and long, as would have been the case with a run back to the line of scrimmage per se or an incompletion, the Grizzlies now have a 3rd and very, very manageable. Ball's on the 35.
3rd and 1.
Jumbo set. Here's the handoff. Taft Partridge still going all the way down to the 24-yard line, and that's a gain of 11 yards.
Well, looks like they're going to have to start accounting for Taft Partridge. He is making a name for himself here.
24-yard line.
Still has yet to get that all-important touchdown. But
Well, you know, but he's a fullback. And when you have the likes of Tony Ellison, Johnny Cooley, Stephen Graber on your team.
Ty Cerna.
On the last play.
I mean, we could go on and on.
on.
You know, you're not going to get a whole lot of touchdown looks, but I bet he's just relishing the fact that he's getting more touches than he normally does. Too wide to the right. Partridge and Cooley in the backfield. Towery in motion. Here's the snap. Handoff. Johnny Cooley. And Johnny Cooley gets the Grizzlies into the red zone. Picks up 5 yards to the 19.
You know, one thing I'm noticing is that although Downey's defense is, underwhelming, they are very physical. I mean, when they are getting the stops, they're making big stops. They're hitting them very hard. So every time I see somebody get hit, I'm like, oh, please don't get injured, you know? 'Cause
Second and 5.
I mean, you don't want to see injuries on either side, but
Ellison in motion. Handoff. Partridge again.
Partridge.
And Partridge is playing like a man possessed. He's got the Grizzlies another first down, this time down to the 11-yard line. That's a gain of 8.
well, you know, I think what it is Partridge is really matching the physicality of this defense and going hard-nosed at them. And I think it's really, you know, a rock hitting a rock.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is playing a physical game, matching up with this physical Downey defense, like you mentioned. Grizz come out, 3-wide set. Partridge, Cooley in the backfield yet again. Handoff to Cooley, and Cooley gets the Grizzlies to the 5-yard line, gain of 7. And the Grizzly offense looks like they're going to score their 4th touchdown of the night.
Down to the 5-yard line. Gain of 7.
I was about to correct you, Neil, but then I realized that we had a pick 6. So,
5th total touchdown of the evening, but you can't forget the
Yes,
amazing
yes.
pick 6 by Grant
Second and
Powers.
3.
I was going strictly off the scoreboard. I completely forgot to, you know, connect 2 and 2 that a pick 6 is a defensive touchdown.
Jumbo set, play action. Caraway rolling right, throws the pass to Taft Partridge, and he gets the touchdown, and his helmet flies off in the process, and that really sums up the night he's had so far.
And just like I said, it's that toughness going up against the toughness of Downey's defense, and his helmet pops off. It doesn't
He's
faze
not
him.
even phased.
From Grant Caraway.
So there's that touchdown for Taft Partridge.
And as a result, Grizzlies back up by 3 possessions. Currently lead 34-14, could be 35-14 pending the extra point. And extra point is up, and once again, Mr. Automatic, Colin Brown knocks it through.
With 3:48 remaining in the first half.
So with 3:48 remaining in the first half, Grizzlies lead by 21, 35-14 over the Downey Knights, and our cameraman, Mitch Bodner, still on pace to hit that all-important 70-point mark that would break the Grizzlies' all-time scoring record in a single game. Downey getting set to receive the next kickoff, and kind of an interesting formation they have going here.
Kickoff for Granite Bay.
3 men lined up deep to receive for Downey. Don't see that too often. Colin Brown and the rest of the Grizzlies getting set to kick it away. And kick into the wind is going to be fielded at about the 17, but one Vayayala is taken down just short of the 25-yard line, and that was a really sharp return by Vayayala. Good coverage by the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that was the second special teams tackle for Mark Ellis.
Mark Ellis, of course, junior backup wide receiver. He backs up Ty Serna, and we had seen him playing a little bit as Ty Serna was out for a couple of weeks with an injury, but now he's gone back to his true forte, which is making special teams plays, and he's so far had 2 of them tonight.
Well, you know, anywhere you can make a contribution is helpful to the team, and Mark Ellis being a true testament to that there, and obvious PI there.
Passes intended for Richard Lopez, covering was Nick Grace.
And that was a pretty blatant pass interference foul committed by senior defensive back Nick Grace right there.
You know what? I almost like that play, and here's why. He doesn't make that. Lopez probably catches it, and he has better speed than Nick Grace. The catching of the ball would have given him more momentum. He probably would have scored a touchdown there.
So the Knights will have it at their own 38-yard
Yeah, you know,
line.
I could see where you're coming from, but, you know, honestly, you never want to give up 15-yard penalties. Nevertheless, though, I think you do make a valid point there. And if Downey does score a quick touchdown here before halftime, and then they receive the second half kickoff, if the Grizzlies weren't to score, Downey could have this game back to 35-28 early in the second quarter if they can get their offense in gear.
Which, of course, would leave little margin of error for the Grizzlies.
Of course, you know, and since the Grizzlies are up by 3 possessions right now, they could afford to make a mistake like that, but they don't want to be making too many. Swallen rolling to the right here on 1st and 10, and he completes a pass past midfield. And that was to number 3, Blake Lopez, to the 45-yard line, and Downey gets into Grizzly territory, and they have another first down.
Downey, 1st and 10.
3 wide to the left, 2 to the right for Zwollen and the rest of the Downey offense. And Zwollen takes a smack, but he does manage to get the pass away.
Pass complete to number 4.
And Joe Camp, the junior 6'1" receiver, breaks down the left sideline before being tackled by Nick Grace at the 34-yard line. So a nice play by Zwollen to get that pass away right before taking a big hit.
Well, Cameron Smith was juked out of his shoes there.
Well, yeah, you know, you don't expect big linebackers to make open field tackles like that on speedy wide receivers along the sideline all that often, but he did get a move right there. 4 wide set. 3-step drop for Zwollen. Looking for a man. Looks down the left side, and it's nearly intercepted.
Number 22, Nick Grace.
Nick Grace nearly took that ball right out of the hands of Joe Camp, and he would have taken that one back a ways, but not quite able to hold on.
Upset him at himself for dropping that, and that's a tough catch to make. Keep your head up, young man.
5 wide. Zwollen in shotgun once again. Quick pass. That's a little screen pass to one Viola. And it goes ahead for 9 yards, and Viola makes a 2nd and 10 now into a 3rd and manageable for Downey. 3rd and 1.
Well, if he hadn't been tackled by Bo Hirschberger yet in this game, he was just there, and pretty sure he doesn't want to experience that again. That was a big hit put on him by Bo.
Interesting play there. Run by Downey, and we were being told about that play earlier once again by our cameraman, Mitchell Bodner. That is actually a design play that Downey runs. It's called the 3rd down fumble, where they actually pretend to fumble the ball, but in reality, it's actually a direct snap to their running back. 4th and inches now for Downey, and they line up once again in that super jumbo set. QB sneak. And it does not appear that Zwollen caught it.
Zwollen on the keeper.
Grizzlies calling that the ball went out or came loose. Let's see what the referees call.
No indication yet. Even if the ball does remain with Downey, the argument has to be made of whether it's a first down or not. And the officials are going to take a timeout to measure it. This would be a huge, huge play if the Grizzly D did, in fact, get a stop here, as that was a 4th and inches play by the Downey Knights.
It appears that they got it, but got to question the spotting there as the quarterback was held. I mean, he didn't cross from where he snapped. Food for thought.
First down, Downey.
And Downey does get the first down. Huge play there by the Downey offense. And like we said, Lucas, if they could score here right before the end of halftime and then score again at the beginning of the second half, they could turn this game around real fast.
Yeah. Neil, I'm just going to ask you, what was your opinion on the spotting on that?
I will admit it was a favorable spot, but, you know, that happens sometimes. You got to deal with it.
Little home field advantage, maybe?
One ball.
On 1st and 10 after the big 4th down play by the Downey Knights. Small one hits Viola on a little screen play, and the Knights pick up 7.
Well, regardless of the call, you know, Downey's not going to waste that favorable spotting. They're going to take advantage of it like they just did on that, what was it, 7-yard gain on 1st down?
And now they run another screen pass. Ball batted up in the air and then caught.
Pass caught off a deflection by Blake Lopes.
By Blake Lopes. That was an impressive heads-up play there by Blake Lopes, the senior, and he caught the nearly dropped ball. And instead of the incompletion, the Downey Knights lose 2. So you could almost make an argument that even though it was a heads-up play, it was not a positive heads-up play, as it lost the Knights 2 yards, as opposed to the incompletion, which would have lost them nothing. So as a result, the Knights have the ball 3rd and 5 on the 20-yard line with 57 ticks left.
Well, I tell you what, if the Grizzlies could stop them here, that would...
it would be monumental. It would be monumental. Because that means at the maximum, if they got to stop here, the Knights would possibly score a touchdown to start the second half. But then they would still be down by 2 possessions. And given the way the Grizzly offense has played here so far tonight, you got to assume that the Downey defense is not going to be able to stop them anytime soon. A lot of motion and weird movements by Swollen, and another!
They're saying the ball hit the
they're
ground.
going to say the ball hit the ground. That would have been another amazing touchdown pass.
Even though that was a great throw, I mean, that's almost an uncoverable throw. Like, you can't really cover that.
Well, and that's what happens when you have such an elite quarterback.
Yes, but I completely agree with the referees. That ball did hit the ground. Great call. That's a hard call to see.
4th and 5. Swollen throws it over the left side, and the ball is intercepted. Batted up in the air. And then intercepted by Tony Milo. And just like that, the Grizzlies flip the tables on the Downey Knights. And they get the ball with 43 seconds left to play here in the second quarter. Now, if you're Coach Cooper, do you go for another touchdown? Or do you just run out the clock and take your lead to halftime?
I say you run some simple yet effective plays and see what happens. You never know. Wind is blowing pretty hard right now, or at least it's catching under these easy ups over here in the stands, as one easy up almost just flew away.
Wind, of course, been a little bit of a factor here. We've seen a lot of off passes, and as a result, we've been seeing a little bit more running and screen passes than we normally would. It looks like the Grizzlies are going to run out the clock to end this first half here as they give the ball off to a fullback, Taft Partridge, on 1st and 10 up the middle. And we have an injury timeout after the run by Partridge. Downey player is down, and the clock will be stopped with 27 seconds left on the clock. Partridge did pick up 2.
Well, Neil, just to make sure I'm not seeing things, look up at the lights. Does it look a little misty or hazy?
You know, it does look a little bit hazy, but I don't think that it's going to be enough to be a factor unless it should pick up. Of course, there was that really foggy game. I believe it was 2 years ago against Roseville at Granite Bay. I don't know if you recall that game.
Yes.
But
where they played, and that was very foggy, yeah.
That became a factor as there were 4 interceptions thrown in that game. 2 by Brendan Keeney and 2 by whoever Roseville's quarterback was at the time. Yeah, it probably was
either. Oh, no. I believe it was one of the Blazer twins. Dalton or Nick.
Whoever it was, the fog definitely became a factor, and if the fog does
that's the thing. It could,
Number 15,
even if it's not necessarily fog, what if it's misty or hazy and then condensation becomes a problem like we saw with the Ohio State Marquette basketball game on the aircraft carrier ship? I believe it was off the coast of South Carolina. The temperature drop is really what caused it. So if the temperature continues to drop,
the field can become slippery.
Yeah, and we've already seen the ball come out.
Well, and if that were the case, then you would see a reduction in the run game, not in the pass game. So.
Yeah, and the ball could become very slick, which could cause problems both for the running backs, like you mentioned, and wide receivers trying to catch it. Quarterbacks trying to get a good grip on it. There could be a lot of turnovers if the temperature continues to drop and condensation increases.
Grizzlies running out the last few seconds of this
and
half, and with a knee, Caraway ends the second quarter of play, and the Grizzlies putting together a dominant first half performance. They go into half leading the Downey Knights by 21 points, 35-14. We'll be back with you here for the beginning of second half action here in about 15 minutes from Downey High School in Modesto, California. But for now, alongside my partner Lucas Carlson, I'm Neil Martin. We're going to take a quick break here and be back with you here in just a few moments on Play On Sports Network.
one match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Alright, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
Welcome back to Downey High School for the second half of action between this Sac Joaquin Section Division I matchup between the number 5 seeded Granite Bay Grizzlies and the number 4 seeded Downey Knights. Granite Bay Grizzlies kicking it away to the Downey Knights right now to start this third quarter of play. As the score stands now, Grizzlies lead by 21, 35-14 on the Knights. But the Knights have a very explosive offense, and they could get this game back to close very quickly, Lucas.
Yes, they could, and you know, we've seen a lot of strange things in high school football. No team has ever counted out, so Downey Knights are still very much in this game.
5 wide set to start the second half. Quick pass, and it is nearly intercepted by Nick Grace. Richard Lopez was the intended receiver, but
playing a little bit of defender there.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm surprised. That was just another poor pass by Zwollen, and it really just strangely looks like he's never really settled in tonight.
Yeah, you know, I feel like he falls back to his fade pass way too much. He's trying to just lob it up in the air and hope his receiver can go up and get it, and the defenders are catching on really quick.
And there again, a poor pass by Zwollen. That pass underthrown, thrown behind his receiver, and second straight incompletion by Zwollen to start this second half results in a 3rd and 10 for the Downey Knights. 5 wide set. Here's the snap. Zwollen rolls to the left, throws it down the left sideline. So Richard Lopez, and Richard Lopez is going to be close to that first down marker, and it appears that he got it. And there will be a first down.
Possibly more favorable spotting, but you know, that's to be expected when you're the home team.
First and 10 for the Knights on their own 40-yard line. Strange formation, 2 men in the backfield for the first time tonight for the Knights. Zwollen under pressure. And Zwollen had an open man. That was his running back, Juan Villala, along the left sideline, but he had to get rid of that ball quickly, and a nice play by the Grizzly defensive line.
Yeah, Neil, did you know this? I just found this out this morning. Bo Hirschberger is technically a D lineman.
Well, he's
the position
linebacker hybrid.
The position they the formation they run is called the odd formation that they run a lot, and they have him drop back to outside linebacker, so that's why we see him play linebacker a lot.
Richard Lopez catches a pass along the left sideline there on 2nd and 10 and picks up 8 yards. So now the Downey Knights will have the ball 3rd and 2 on their own 48-yard line. 4 wide set, trips to the right. Villala in the backfield with Zwollen, and Zwollen throws a screen pass to Best, and Best loses 2 yards, so a 4th and 4 upcoming for the Knights, and they will most likely go for it as per the norm for this Downey offense.
And that was a giant bear hug by Bo Hirschberger. He just wrapped up the defender and pushed him back. I mean, he didn't have a chance on that play.
Three wide set. Oh no, the Knights are in punt formation.
Whoa.
Watch the fake here. And
Whoa!
it is a fake. Direct snap to Juan Villala, and he is stopped short. Grizzly defense makes a huge stop. And the Granite Bay Grizzlies, after making so many big plays in the first half, come up with the first big play of the second half in this big quarterfinal matchup between the 4 and 5 seeds in Division I.
They had me surprised on that play. Wow, that was a cool play.
1st and 10 now for the Grizzlies on the Downey 48-yard line. Good field position. Grizzlies come out in a 3 wide set. 2 men to the left. Ellison now in motion from right to left. He's going to get the sweep around the left side. Taft Partridge lead blocking. Partridge Sets
Tony
up
Ellison.
Tony Ellison with a big block there, and Ellison able to get just about to the first down marker, about
That will be a
3
Green Bay
inches
first down.
short. No, they're going to call it a first down now.
Cody Gilbert and Herman
So I
Harris
guess
on
the
the
referees
tackle
are being
ball down at the Knights' 38
even
yard
with
line.
the spotting.
Yeah. We'll call it even. And Tony Ellison with another big run, and as a result, Grizzlies have another first down.
With the ball, first and 10.
First and 10. 2 men wide to the left. Partridge and Cooley in the backfield. Ellison now in motion. Here's the snap. Handoff. That's Cooley. He's at the 30. Cuts back at the 25, 20, 15, 10. All the way down to the 5-yard line. But this one looks like it's going to be coming back as well,
Back at the 24.
as there was a penalty flag, and it looks like this is going to be against the
Against Downey.
defense. Wow, I thought that was going to be illegal hands to the face against the Grizzlies, but instead it is illegal hands to the face against Downey. And that penalty, I'm sure, will be declined. And Johnny Cooley gets the Grizzlies inside the 10-yard line to the 6. First and goal upcoming for the Grizz. 9:28 left to play in the third. Grizzlies still hold a 21-point lead, 35-14 over the Downey Knights.
We had an update at halftime for the Franklin of Elk Grove and Lincoln
Also,
of Stockton game.
conduct called against Downey.
Franklin of Elk Grove arguably running away with that game, 28-0 last time we heard.
Of course, that game important.
Now at the 3-yard
Franklin of
line.
Elk Grove, of course, the number 1 seed. Lincoln of Stockton, of course, the number 9 seed. And the winner of that game will play the winner of this game tonight. So, and I've said it really since these playoffs started. Our Final Four predictions for D1 were exactly the same: Pleasant Grove, Franklin of Elk Grove, Oak Ridge, and Granite Bay. And that very well could become the reality here tonight.
Yes.
Here's the snap. On first and goal from the 3, and Partridge gets the handoff up the middle and nearly gets his second touchdown of the night. He gets to the 1-yard line. And it'll be second and goal now for the Grizzlies. Getting back to playoff predictions, of course, we've also been saying since these playoffs began, the only 2 teams in the playoffs that would pose any challenge to the Grizzlies would be the Oak Ridge Trojans or the Franklin of Elk Grove Wildcats. And it does look like that both of those teams will make it to the semifinals, so the Grizzlies could have a tough next couple of rounds ahead of them.
Cooley.
On second and goal from the 1, Johnny Cooley gets the handoff around right guard and only gets back to the line of scrimmage. So it'll be third and goal for the Grizzlies at the 1. And Lucas, you have an update.
Yes, we have an SFL update. The other SFL team, the only other remaining SFL team in the playoffs, Del Oro, currently up over St. Mary's of Stockton, 14-10 in the third quarter.
So Del Oro trying to represent the SFL well.
Cooley.
Of course, that's in Division 2.
That is Division 2. And Del Oro shocked a lot of people last week when they beat the 2 seed Yuba City in Division 2, as Del Oro did go 5-5 in the regular season, but that was the result of what many described as one of the toughest schedules in the section. So you could call it a surprise or not, depending on your point of view, but Del Oro did play very well in that game against Yuba City. Johnny Cooley had another unsuccessful run on third and goal from the 1, and now it will be fourth and goal for the Grizzlies on the 1. And the Grizzlies are going to try and punch it in here. Lucas, you have something else to say.
Apologize for any technical difficulties we may have just had. May have been a problem with the mic cable, I don't know, but it may have sounded like Neil was talking about something completely random. Del Oro is up over St. Mary's of Stockton, 14-10 in the third quarter. And, of course, I said that because that is the only other SFL team in the playoffs right now. And, of course, they're in the Division 2 playoffs. Neil, what just happened?
And while you were speaking, Stephen Graber got his second touchdown of the night, his 4th touchdown in 2 weeks.
Making the catch, number 9.
And that was just a little 1-yard flick of a pass from Grant Caraway to the back of the end zone where Graber was waiting for it. And now the Grizzlies have gotten into the 40-point range as we're not even midway through the third quarter with 7:23 left in the third. The Grizzlies will be up 42-14 on the Downey Knights, presuming Colin Brown can make this PAT, and he does.
And the kick is good.
So the Grizzlies are now up by 28 once again. And Grizzlies just continue to have their way here at Downey High School tonight.
Well, you know, never want to call a game early, but the Grizzlies can start easing off a little bit. They can start being a little comfortable as they are up by 4 possessions.
And me and Lucas starting to take shelter under the media easy up as rain is starting to come down here at Downey High School. We were expecting it all night. Lucas has been talking about it all night. We thought we were going to have pouring rain from the moment this game started, but the weather has been good to us. We've just had wind up until this point, but now rain's starting to drizzle down, and according to the radar provided by weather reports down in the trailer, the rain could start to come down even heavier as we get further into this game.
Well, condensation coming out in a different form than I thought. I thought it was just going to resort to mist and haze. But we are actually getting, you know, sprinkling rain. It's just falling in drops right now, but not exactly bad weather yet.
Grizzlies kick the ball away
Herman Harris takes it the 5-yard
to
line.
Downey once again.
25.
And Downey returns the ball out to their own 25, where they will get the ball 1st and 10.
Knights with the ball, 1st and 10.
5 wide set for Downey, and the pass was thrown over the middle into triple coverage. Again, just not a very wise pass there by Zwollen, and again, just a pretty easy defensive play made there by the Grizzlies.
Great coverage there by Grant Powers as he hit the ball and then hit the receiver, which is what you got to do to avoid that penalty. That's as good as it gets when it comes to coverage.
And Powers has had himself quite the night, and there you can see that just sums up the kind of night this Downey offense is having, typically so high-powered. You're expecting a shutout from 2 sides. So far, Grizzlies really have been the only ones putting up big points, and there's Zwollen through really as simple as a pass as you can possibly get, and Juan Viola just dropped it. So 3rd and 10, 4 wide set, and it's going to be intercepted by Nick Grace. But
yep, that was definitely a push-off.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to stand. Nick Grace pushed off there to get that interception, and this will be a penalty against the Grizzlies.
He's been having a tough night out there in coverage.
Well, I mean, let's not say that. Sure, he's had the 2 PI penalties, but other than that, he's played pretty excellent coverage.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, you know, he's just been getting unlucky. I don't think he meant to push up the receiver there. I think he had only eyes for the ball there, and the receiver just happened to be in the way, and as a result, you get that penalty called for you. And, you know, he's talking to the ref saying, you know, all right, I understand I made that, you know, what can I do to make it better?
And a pretty critical penalty because that was a 3rd and 10 for Downey. As a result of the pass interference penalty, Downey got a 1st down. They then just threw a pass. It was complete down the left sideline for a gain of about 9.5 yards. So Downey will have the ball with 2nd and only inches to go unless the ref rules the ball to have passed the 1st down marker here, and it looks like they are going to measure it, and they will. And so with 7 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter, and the Grizzlies up by 28, we're going to get a, no, we won't really call it a critical ruling here, but possibly another favorable spot for the Downey Knights. And that will be a 1st down for the Knights. So as a result, with the ball at exactly midfield, Downey will have a fresh set of downs.
Well, this second half is kind of following the script that we saw in the first half with Downey scoring an early touchdown, getting a couple of penalties and favorable first down spotting, and then possibly not doing anything on the drive, which is what they did last time. Hopefully for Downey, they don't do the same thing. And it doesn't look like it there on that catch. That was a solid gain.
That was a very solid gain, and Zwollen starting to complete a couple of consecutive passes, maybe starting to get back into a rhythm here, but he hasn't really shown much of any sort of rhythm tonight. See what happens. He pump fakes and is then sacked right as we were starting to give him a little bit of credit again. And Vince Milo of the Granite Bay Grizzlies gets the credit for a big sack there. And that knocks the Knights back to midfield, so it'll be 3rd and 10 for the Knights.
3rd and 10.
Big 3rd down here for the Downey Knights. They need a touchdown here if they want to stay in this ball game.
You could say that again.
Here's the snap on a 4-wide set. Zwollen drops back, throws over the middle, finds Best. Best jukes man at the 37 and is then taken down at the 35. First down for the Knights at the 35.
Well, looks like they listened to you there, Neil.
Excuse me, that was Lopes, not Best. Over the middle. Nonetheless, a great reception by him to make a move and get the first down. Looks like we're going to have another official timeout with 5:37 left here in the 3rd quarter. Grizzlies still up by 28, 42-14 on the Downey Knights. And Lucas, you have another update.
Yes, in the Franklin of Elk Grove game, Franklin has taken a larger lead, 35-0. No word on how much time is left in the game or what quarter they are in, but nonetheless, it already looks like that game is over.
As my father, Craig Martin, who is such an amazing parent, would say, as he has sat next to me and watched sports with me all my life, and I do love you, Dad, he would say that the competitive portion of that game is now over.
We have another update.
Okay, I was just going to talk about who called the timeout, but you go ahead and give us the update first.
Okay. In the SFL game, the other SFL game, I should say, Del Oro is up 21-10 at the end of the 3rd. Defense has been stellar, and Brandon Monroe has about 250 yards on the night. Whoa.
And since everybody seems to be wondering, the burning question right now is who called the timeout, and the answer is Downey. Downey did call their first timeout of the half with 5:23 left in the 3rd quarter, for those wondering.
So, back to the Del Oro update. Brandon Monroe appears to be back to his amazing form.
Yeah, he's probably playing like a man possessed for the hardships that Del Oro has suffered this season as they played an absolutely ruthless schedule. They played 3 nationally ranked teams. Of course, Westlake Village and Oaks Christian, but then also they played Logan High School, another high school here in California that was nationally ranked at the time Del Oro played them. And Del Oro actually beat them.
Yes.
So, really excellent play by Del Oro here in the Sac Joaquin section playoffs.
Which makes you wonder,
despite a 5-5 record.
What if the Grizzlies had scheduled some, less strong teams? Although I do have to say this, I heard, albeit their division that they're in is loaded, the Pac-5 division, both Oaks Christian and Westlake Village are not in the playoffs. Or, they've been knocked out of the playoffs.
Yes, I was actually going to mention something about that. Westlake Village and Oaks Christian both got knocked out of the playoffs in the first round in their section, so they were both upset, and that was incredibly shocking and certainly will not go a long way towards helping Granite Bay and Del Oro's national ranking, and of course that helped their state bowl game chances should they still have any glimmer of hope of getting into one left this season.
Yeah, well, for Granite Bay to be able to do that, they will definitely have to beat Franklin of Elk Grove next week, which is looking like what the matchup will be. And, you know, I don't want to say it, but I feel like Del Oro's missed their chance. 5 losses is a lot.
Okay, I'll correct that. Going in every week, MaxPreps.com, of course, the leader for high school sports, does post predictions for who they think will get into the state bowl games. And Granite Bay actually is currently ranked 8th in Northern California's Division I football, but still they would need to win every game they have left by a huge margin if they wanted any shot of getting into a bowl game, as being ranked 8th, especially behind teams like the likes of De La Salle and Rancho Cucamonga and other teams like that.
Mission Viejo.
And Mission Viejo, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many. Actually, excuse me, I thought you were talking about the Pac-5 division, which is, you know, why I was so surprised. I look at they have so many good teams in that, and I think they have like 3 to 4 nationally ranked teams in their little bracket for the playoffs.
Yeah, and it really is a frightening division. I mean, and we're just talking a division. That would be the equivalent of having Franklin of Elk Grove, Oak Ridge, and Granite Bay all nationally ranked. I mean, that's sort of what we're talking about. So, I mean, that's not even their whole section. That is one division in their section. It is absolutely loaded, and just shows you how much
I think they've earned the right to call themselves
Southern California football.
I think they've earned the right to call themselves the Pac-5 division.
Because they Pac-5 national contenders every season. Meanwhile, while we've been talking about all of these playoff and state predictions,
Herman Harris on the stop.
Downey turned the ball over on downs, and Granite Bay has since taken the ball over in their own territory. They took the ball over right around the 35-yard line. They have since gotten a first down courtesy of a Tony Ellison run, and now we have a Downey Knights player currently injured. So while they attend to him, we will take a short break. It appears to only be cramps, and we'll be back here in just a short moment on Play On Sports Network.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
Here on Play On Sports Network, I'm Neil Martin alongside my partner Lucas Carlson, and that was, I believe that was Richard Lopez, the senior wide receiver,
number
who was
20,
down.
Richard Lopez, the two-way star.
And after getting his cramps worked out, he has since walked off the field on his own power, so that's good to see. And now the Grizzlies will continue their offensive drive. 3 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. They still lead 42-14 over Downey. Jumbo set here on 1st and 10. Andrew Towery in motion. Here's the snap. Handoff. Johnny Cooley around left guard. He's got room to run at the 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, and taken down inside the red zone. An excellent run by Johnny Cooley. That's going to be a gain of about, we'll call it about 26 yards, and Johnny Cooley having a great night, along with several other Granite Bay offensive playmakers. Of course, Taft Partridge has a touchdown, and he's been contributing in a lot of ways tonight. Stephen Graber, 2 touchdowns. Ty Cerner with an excellent catch. And, of course, Tony Ellison. You can't ever leave out Tony Ellison, and the Grizzlies just playing a great all-around game tonight. Jumbo set for the Grizzlies. 1st and 10, hand off to Johnny Cooley again, this time around left tackle. He's got room to run again, and he gets the Grizzlies another first down.
And, you know, I mean, it's kind of hard to, I mean, it seems like they're kind of letting off the gas a little, but you can only do so much. You don't want to completely take yourselves out of the game. And, you know, the Grizzlies doing as much as they can, but we have another update. Franklin of Elk Grove now up 42-0.
Ball just inside the
winning
10.
in
First and
dominant
goal.
fashion over Lincoln of Stockton. So pretty
You know,
impressive
Neil,
game being
I
played
gotta
by
give you
them.
props. I said I had a feeling Lincoln of Stockton might pull it out. I was horribly wrong.
Yeah,
And so
I was
wanna
having
give
I
you
was
props.
having none of that.
Cooley.
I mean, and I was kind of surprised you said that because you basically went back on what you said at the beginning of the playoffs. Like I said, our original predictions for the D1 playoffs was identical.
Tackle made by
Our
John
Final Four
Staples and
predictions
Adrian
was
Buda.
Franklin of Elk Grove, Granite Bay, Oak Ridge, and Pleasant Grove.
I think it
And
was,
you reneged. Why did you renege?
I think it was the broadcaster and me that wanted another home game.
Ball at the 9-7
Of course,
yard
nothing
line.
beats the comfort of home
Second
at Granite
and goal.
Bay High School, but yeah.
It also beats traveling, an hour down the road to,
Well,
Elk Grove.
or in our case, longer than that.
yeah. Well, I'm saying I think Elk Grove is like 45 minutes away. I don't know. I'm no
Oh,
navigation
down to the
expert. Obviously.
While we were talking, Grizzlies got a first and goal, then handed the ball off to Tony Ellison on a sweeper on the right side, and Ellison advanced the ball 6 yards to get the ball to the 1 yard line where it will be third and goal from the 1 for the Grizzlies. And we are under a minute to play here in the third quarter.
Third and goal.
47 ticks left to play in the third. Grizzlies come out in a jumbo set. Ellison, the lone man, out to the right. He's in motion. Here's the snap. Handoff. And this is going to be an easy touchdown for the Grizzlies. Johnny Cooley walks in untouched. And the Grizzlies now lead it 48-14, pending the extra point. And the Grizzlies just continue to dominate here. And Lucas, you got to wonder when Coach Ernie Cooper is going to be putting in the subs.
Well, I know that people will say, oh, they're running up the score.
Brown
But
on
look
to
at
attempt
where
the
our
extra
ranking
point.
is. We do need to make a statement, but we also can't take the risk of injuries, of course, in this, subpar weather. I
And the
think
kick is
he
good.
could put them in
With
after
43
now.
seconds remaining in the third quarter.
I think one more touchdown.
Yeah.
49.
All right, let's
Once
go one more
your
touchdown.
lead is 40 or more, then it would probably be safe to put in the subs. As it is now, Grizzlies lead by 35 with a mere 43 seconds left in the third quarter. Once again, score now 49 for the 5th-seeded Grizzlies and 14 for the 4th-seeded Knights. And once again, Colin Brown will be kicking back to Downey, and as I have said all season long, and nobody has heeded my word, get that man a new contract, please. I know he's a kicker, but
Neil,
please.
Neil. I regret to inform you this, but they don't have contracts in high school football.
What?
Crystal Creamery is an
Give the man an A+ then.
Crystal Creamery, your local dairy, is proud to support local athletes.
Give him an A in athletic PE.
I'm sure he is getting an A.
Here's the kick. And it's going to be fielded by Downey at the 15. And a double reverse to Juan Viola, who is not going to get very far. Going to be taken down at the 19, and there's a flag on the play as well.
Flag on the play.
There's a Downey player on the sideline that may be Lopez, who has full-on tape wrapped around his body and chest, and it's taped his arm to his chest. Possibly, it is Lopes? Oh, it is
Illegal
Blake
forward
Lopes,
lateral called against
number
Downey.
3. Thank you
By
to,
Granite Bay moves the ball back to the 15
we have the
line.
Downey cameraman up here who just gave us that update, so thank you to him.
That's a pretty big hit to Downey's offense. One of their most reliable receivers looking like he's going to be out for the game. As Downey goes back on offense, and Swallen lobs the ball deep, and the pass falls incomplete right through the outstretched arms of his receiver down the right sideline. That was Tristan Best.
And Luke Bussey.
And there you see you know, Zwollen still trying to throw that lob pass, trying to fit it in there, trying to see if he can work it, and it's just not working. He's got to find a way to get those effective, tight on-target throws. Like that right there.
Screen pass thrown to Juan Viola underneath. And Viola able to advance the ball 5 yards to the 20, so it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Downey Knights as we are inside of 15 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter.
3rd and 5.
Downey can try and get one more playoff here. 5 wide set. Here's the snap. Quick pass. That is to Best, and Best will be stopped short of the first down, about a yard short, and that's going to end the 3rd quarter. And at the end of 3 frames of play, the Grizzlies lead in dominating fashion. Margin currently 35 points as the Grizzlies are up 49-14 over the Downey Knights. When we come back for the start of the 4th quarter. Oh, we have a quick update from Lucas Carlson, excuse me.
It is the end of the 3rd quarter. The score remains Del Oro 21, St. Mary's 10.
So Del Oro and Granite Bay representing the SFL Wells tonight as they're both winning their respective playoff games, and we will be back to bring you the final quarter of this quarterfinal matchup here in just a couple moments on Play On Sports Network. And we're back with you on Play On Sports Network. I'm your play-by-play announcer, Neil Martin, alongside my color commentator,
Lucas Carlson.
Here, bringing you the 4th quarter of action in this Sac Joaquin Section Division I playoff quarterfinal matchup between the 5th-seeded Granite Bay Grizzlies and the 4th-seeded Downey Knights. And Downey currently trailing the Grizzlies 14-49 as we start this 4th quarter. They did, however, just pick up a big first down on 4th down. And now Downey with a fresh set of 4 at their own 31.
Yep.
Zwollen drops back. Throws a pass down the left sideline, and Nick Grace makes a touchdown-saving tackle.
You know, Nick Grace may not be the best coverage player. I mean, he got beat pretty bad there. But the thing is he's a smart defender. He can read the play and know where it's going. And you saw that there on that tackle as he went down for the legs and cut them out from under him before the receiver could react. Big play there made by Nick Grace after the blown coverage.
Excellent point there, Lucas. 4 wide set. Downey runs a little halfback draw off the left side to Juan Viola. And Viola gains 5 yards to the 36-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and 5 for the Downey Knights. Well, barring an upset of epic proportions, looks like Downey's going to lose this ball game, currently down by 35, but we've seen stranger things happen.
Technically, we would be the ones upsetting them because we're the lower seed.
Thank you for that little piece of education there, Lucas. I wasn't aware that was how upsets worked. Nearly another big pass interference call on the Grizzlies. That would have been against Luke Bussey, but I think a good no call there by the refs.
Yeah. And I think we got a little bit of a Christmas gift there. Bo Hirschberger runs over and taps Luke Bussey, says, nice play. You got a gift there, okay? Next time you got to not use your hands so much because they probably will call it next time. So, I don't know. Maybe a good call. It could have gone either way. And
Personal foul roughing the passer against
And nevertheless, we still have a 15-yard penalty called against Granite Bay. A flag that escaped our eye. That was a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty called against Granite Bay. So that will move the ball 15 yards ahead. And now Downey will have the ball 1st and 10 on the Grizzly 21-yard line. Downey comes out here on 1st and 10 after the penalty in a 5 wide set.
1st and 10.
quarterback's Wallen in shotgun.
Watch for the fade pass here. He's been going to this a lot. Oh, no.
Quick little screen pass. And that is good enough for a Downey first down. Gain of 10. That was Juan Viola, the running back, catching that screen pass out along the sideline and eventually getting stopped by Vince Milo.
Well, I guess that's why my nickname's Offensive Coordinator Lucas and not Coach Lucas.
First and 10.
I'm sorry, Lucas, but the demotion was necessary.
Yep.
Of course, we are missing Coach Kyle this week.
Yet again. Hey, that work schedule's tough, man.
Of course,
Tackled by Cameron Smith. And Bo
he
Hirschberger.
is typically a very, very crucial member of our broadcast team, but he has not been available the past couple of weeks. We do miss him, however, and Lucas, you have you know a little bit about what just happened on that call.
There was a flag, and although you gave me credit for knowing what happened, I did not quite see what happened. However, the refs did throw a flag, and I was pointing out there was a flag to you. Just trying to help you out.
Our cameraman, Mitchell Bodner, just told me that it was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, so thank you, Mitch.
You took the words out of my mouth.
First and goal now for Downey, and Downey gets a touchdown. Their first of the half comes with 8 minutes and 24 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And that makes the score Granite Bay 49, Downey 20. Of course, the clock does continue to run. The rule in high school football is as long as a team does have a lead of, I believe it's 30. I thought it was 35 or more, so I'm kind of curious as to why the clock isn't stopping. You do have a running clock in the fourth quarter. Maybe it's after the scoring play is completed with the PAT. And the PAT is blocked.
No good. So it's 7:47 remaining in the game.
So, as a result, with 7:47 remaining, the Grizzlies maintain a 4-possession lead. They lead 20 by 29, 49-20 over the Downey Knights. And no reason to think that the Grizzlies will not carry that lead to win this football game.
Well, while we have some dead space, I'd like to thank our people in the trailer. Shouts out to Mr. Weidkamp, our supervisor, and Dominic Barreco, our switcher. They also
and
have
sound man.
yeah,
and graphics man.
He's been doing it all down there, so would like to give him an extra special thanks.
The also, super sophomore.
yes. And also, thank you for giving us the score updates. They have been providing us with the score updates, so they're doing a lot of work down there. Also, shouts out to our cameraman, Mitch Bodner. We've mentioned his name a couple of times tonight. Doing a bang-up job on the camera, so.
And we also have to give him credit for getting us here in the nick of time.
That's true.
Driving like a maniac to get us here just 5 minutes before kickoff. So thank you, Mitch.
I wouldn't call it maniac. I'd just say
No.
he was time efficient.
Downey now kicking the ball back to the Grizzlies after scoring their first touchdown in the second half. Tony Ellison and Aaron Knapp back deep to receive the kick. And it is onside once again. And the Grizzlies lose the handle on the football, and it appears that Downey has recovered. Wow. You want to talk about an epic comeback starting? Well, this is how you do it. They are down by 29, but if they get some more breaks like this, they could get back in this one.
Knights for the ball, first and 10.
Downey gets the ball first and 10 on the Grizzly 45, and the ball is picked off!
Bo Hirschberger with the circus catch!
One-handed grab by the linebacker.
You're not supposed to have hands like that.
For the Grizzly D. No, you are not.
If
not
you're a linebacker, wow. looking like he's been catching balls like that for years. And just, I mean, he batted it up to himself and was like, all right, I got this.
And Bo Hirschberger makes the Statue of Liberty play. And the Grizzlies get the ball right back. 6:30 left to play here in the third quarter. They now have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 41, and the rain now starting to really come down here at Downey High School.
Cooley up the middle.
Johnny Cooley gets the handoff up the middle on 1st and 10. Probably in an effort for the Grizzlies to burn some clock. And Lucas will now make the 3-foot shuffle to join me under the media easy up. An excellent play there made by my color commentator.
Well,
good show of agility.
Took a lot of shuffling and I guess you could call it juke moves around our cameraman Mitch Bodner.
Okay, don't give yourself too much credit. 2nd and 8 on the 43 for the Grizzlies. Handoff goes to Partridge up the middle. And he crosses the 45 to the 46. He picks up 3 yards, and now the Grizzlies will have the ball 3rd and 5. Just inside their own territory.
Marcus Autry and Leo Bracamonte. Gain of 3.
Well, I'm having a tough time seeing as every time I breathe, my breath comes up into my glasses and fogs up my glasses. So
just to give you an idea of how the weather is getting down here, it is getting colder and rainier every second. Ellison goes in double motion before the ball is handed off to Johnny Cooley. And Cooley with an excellent run. He gets to the Downey 43-yard line for a gain of 10 yards. Excuse me, 11 yards. Math game is not quite spot on that play. I apologize to the fans, but thank all the little people. 1st down for the Grizzlies. We're under 5 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. Grizzlies still lead by 29.
First and 10.
First and 10. Ellison in motion. Handoff. Cooley up the middle. And this is going to be a minimal gain. Gain of 2 yards to the 41. So 2nd and 8 upcoming for the Grizzlies as they are attempting to slowly bleed the clock out.
And as I like to say, Neil, this game is all but over.
And as I and my beloved father, Greg Martin, like to say, the competitive portion of this game is not now, but has long been over. Ellison in motion. Here's the snap. Ellison gets the sweep around the right side. Ellison cuts it up.
Ellison to the 36
and gets to the 37-yard line. That's a gain of 5 yards to make it 3rd and 3 for the Grizzly offense.
Well, Neil, I've been keeping track, and we've just been using a variety of phrases and references tonight, ranging from volleyball to Friday Night Lights, the book, to your father. It's all over the place.
Okay, Lucas.
Our broadcast is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get.
Pulling out the classics there. Forrest Gump. Taft Partridge! Touchdown Grizzlies! The big fullback gets his 2nd touchdown of the night as we speak.
First touchdown run.
And one of the unheralded heroes of this Grizzly offense this entire season has been lighting up the scoreboard tonight. That's a 37-yard sprint down the right sideline by the 3-year varsity starter, Taft Partridge, to give the Grizzlies yet another touchdown. That is their 8th touchdown of the night. PAT is up and good, and the Grizzlies now lead 56-20 over the Downey Knights with 2:44 left to play in the 4th quarter.
Mr. Automatic at it again, and they have the scoreboard wrong. They didn't give us the credit for the 6 points from the touchdown run, but, you know, the score is 56-20. There's no debating that. And, I mean, it really doesn't matter except for possibly rankings purposes.
Well, nonetheless, the official scorekeepers will get the score right, so... Oh, and there they go. They corrected the score on the scoreboard.
Maybe they're listening to our broadcast.
Of course, we want to thank all of you listening to the broadcast tonight. Always love having an audience. We do it for you guys as well as ourselves. Honestly, there is no better way to be a part of sports other than competing in them than doing this. I mean, and I think I speak for both of us, Lucas, when I say that this is an amazing, amazing thing to be a part of.
Yes, and, you know, it really wouldn't be something without all the fans out there watching. So, you know, I really want to, you know, say for myself, not just you, Neil, saying it for the both of us, but we really do appreciate you guys watching, and thank you for the support.
And now Colin Brown kicks the ball back to Downey. A little squib kick. Fielded at about the 35.
John Kreipels takes the kickoff to the 42-yard line.
By John Kreipels.
On the stop.
And Griff Powers gets the stop, so Downey will have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 41.
We have an SFL update. It is final. Del Oro wins 21-10 over St. Mary's. They advance to the semifinals in Division II.
And Del Oro scores their second big upset in as many weeks in Division II. Back here. Ball pops out. And Downey's receiver fumbled the now slippery football because of rain right into the hands of linebacker Tony Milo. Now the Grizzlies will have the ball 1st and 10 once again.
Neil, just some clarification for you so that you don't get them confused. Vince plays linebacker, or excuse me, Vince plays D-line. Tony plays linebacker.
And our defense, I'm not sure that's much of a differentiation.
That's true. They're switching it around all the time. And now on to our offense. It appears that they have the backups in. Yep, Josh Neal is in at quarterback.
And rightfully so, as the Grizzlies are up by 36 with just over a minute remaining. Towery in motion, handoff, goes to Clint Ellenwood.
Handoff goes to number 6, Clint Ellenwood.
Up the middle.
Tackle made by Herman Harris.
And Ellenwood gains 8, and that should take us to under a minute to play here at Downey High School.
On a gain of 8 now, ball at the 43-yard line of the Knights.
Second and 2 now for the Grizzly offense.
2nd and 2.
2 wide to the left, 2 men in the backfield. Ben in motion. Hand off to Michael Garrity.
Josh Neal, the new quarterback in the game.
Up the middle. And Garrity gets to the 37-yard line before being stopped. And
hands off to number 28.
That play may take us to the end of the game as we are under 26 to play here in the 4th quarter. An excellent game played by both teams, but in the end, the 5th-seeded Granite Bay Grizzlies will upset the 4th-seeded Downey Knights at Downey High School by a score of 56-20. A huge upset. And the Grizzlies now move to the Sac Joaquin Section Division I semifinals with a record of 9-3, and it appears that they will play Franklin of Elk Grove at Franklin of Elk Grove High School. We'd like to thank everybody who listens to this broadcast here tonight on Play On Sports Network. For all of us here broadcasting tonight, our cameraman Mitch Bodner, our all-around super sophomore Dominic Barreco working the switcher, the graphics, the sound. Of course, our beloved faculty supervisor, Mr. Wadkamp, and my partner,
Lucas Carlson, who has a quick update. Excuse me, Lucas Carlson, who has the quick update. Franklin wins 42-6 over Lincoln of Stockton.
So we will play Franklin of Elk Grove next week. And to finish off our sign-off, I'm your play-by-play man, Neil Martin. Thank you for listening again tonight, and we hope you enjoyed our broadcast. We will be broadcasting next week down in Elk Grove when the #1 seeded Franklin of Elk Grove Wildcats play host to the #5 seeded Granite Bay Grizzlies. Have a nice night, everybody.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot. This.